This is 3 News Daily.
Hello everyone, welcome back to 3 News Daily on this Monday. I'm Stephanie Haney here with your top stories from Northeast Ohio. And today we want to take a moment to acknowledge that it is Juneteenth. We'll be talking a little bit about that later. But we start this afternoon with an update on a deadly shooting that has shaken up a quiet Lakewood neighborhood. Lydia Sparra tells us what happened.
Post call said they heard gunshots coming from Ridgewood. My original complainant is a city worker, said he heard about 8 of them, and they heard people yelling to call for the police.
Gunshots from here, 1429 Ridgewood in Lakewood. Witnesses who would not go on camera said it happened around 5:30 Friday nights. Listen to the radio traffic.
She heard 3, and then 2, and then she heard a man yell, "I will shoot you."
Neighbors who were having dinner outside said they heard the gunshots, ran inside, and heard an additional 2.
1431 Ridgewood saw a female shooting at her boyfriend.
1431 Ridgewood, which is a unit attached to 1429.
Send an ambulance. I got a woman with a gunshot wound to the chest on the back porch.
Police say it was a 33-year-old woman who was shot and later died. The medical examiner's office identifies that woman as Anika Coleman. 1429 is registered to Robert Nicolino. Witnesses say the two were in a relationship and had only been in this area for about a year.
We don't have anybody in custody. There's supposedly somebody in the back with a gun.
Police tell us 3 people were questioned regarding the shooting. Witnesses say at least one of them lived next door. At about 3 o'clock Saturday morning, another gunshot from this address. The medical examiner's office says Robert Nicolino died inside his home.
Now, 3 News spoke to Lakewood Police yesterday about Nicolino's death. The police said more information will likely be released sometime today. The medical examiner's office has not ruled on the cause of death yet, but we can tell you right now it is not being investigated as a homicide. Now, in Lorain, police are investigating a horrible car crash that killed 1 man and injured another. Police say the driver of the vehicle, 23-year-old Nicholas Fennick, lost control and rolled his car, and then that car landed in the front yard of a home. And the passenger, 28-year-old Trent Neal, died after being taken to a hospital. Now today, Fennick is in serious condition. Police say excessive speed and alcohol or drugs appear to be factors in this crash. Now, police in Parma Heights are investigating this absolutely tragic death of a 68-year-old woman who was crushed by an ambulance that was leaving an apartment complex Saturday night. Medics were called to the apartments on West Ridgewood Drive because a neighbor was worried about this woman's welfare. Well, when police got there, they said she was okay, but when paramedics went to leave, witnesses told police that she was hit by the ambulance and she died at the scene. That is just awful. All right, in other news, today work begins to restore a popular landmark at the famous Lakeview Cemetery, the James A. Garfield Memorial, and while they work on it, it will be closed for those repairs. The memorial is where the former president and his wife's caskets are kept. This is the final phase of the restoration, and the plan is for this famous resting spot to be reopened by next spring. All right, let's turn now to weather news. The National Weather Service has confirmed that 9 tornadoes touched down across northern Ohio during last week's severe weather, 9 of them. Now, those tornadoes touched down in Huron, Ottawa, Lucas, Ashland, and Sandusky counties. Crews from the National Weather Service spent about 2 days on the ground surveying the damage, and luckily we can tell you no one was hurt during the tornadoes, but people are dealing with a lot of major property damage. All right, now as we mentioned at the start of the show, today is Juneteenth, and this is the day that marks the end of slavery in the United States. Now, despite the Emancipation Proclamation being signed in 1863, enslaved people in Galveston, Texas weren't notified of their freedom until June 19, 1865. So now Juneteenth is a federal holiday, and we honor this day by remembering this history, and people hold parades and host cookouts. Here in Northeast Ohio, events honoring Juneteenth started on Friday, and those continue today. Today, one of those events is at the African American Cultural Garden. It's hosting this freedom event. In just a bit at 4:30 today, the city of Beechwood will host their first ever Juneteenth celebration at the Family Aquatic Center in Fairmont Boulevard. And you may notice there are some closures today because Juneteenth is a federal holiday. So most banks are closed or on weekend hours since the Federal Reserve is closed. There's no mail delivery, and government offices are also closed today. All right, before we go, let's bring up our question of the day. Today we'll be verifying what works and what doesn't when it comes to deterring mosquitoes. So we want to know, what do you do to keep them away? Post your comment to the WKYC Facebook page and in our 3 News in the Afternoon Facebook group. We'll talk about it during 3 News at 5 o'clock. I know people have a lot of remedies for keeping those skeeters away. I'm told coffee grounds is something that people use. I guess I'm pretty traditional. I just kind of go for the citronella and the bug spray. Looking forward to hearing your remedies. All right, thanks for being with us today for 3 News Daily. Whether you're watching on YouTube, WKYC+, Instagram, live on your TVs, or listening on your favorite podcast platform, we appreciate you, and we will see you back here tomorrow with more top stories from Northeast Ohio. Have a beautiful Monday, everybody.